Hello children, how are you all? Welcome back to your value education class. Today we are going to do lesson 4 from your value education book. And the name of the lesson is Dutiful Shravan. What is the meaning of dutiful, children? Dutiful means when you are obediently doing the duty. When you are obedient to your parents and listening to whatever they are saying and do everything that they tell you, okay? Children, do you know that your actions may impact someone's life in a good way or a bad way? So, you are responsible for whatever action you do, whether it is a good action or a bad action. Alright, children? Now, this story is from the Ramayana, which shows how Shravan was an honest and dutiful child. It also shows how King Dashratha's action gave so much grief and pain to Shravan's parents. This is a sad story, and you should learn to be dutiful and responsible like Shravan. Alright, children? Now, I would like you to listen to the story of Shravan carefully.
Shravan. Shravan was a young, tall, thin and strong boy. He always obeyed his parents. His parents were old, blind and lame. They were a God-fearing couple and always worshipped God. Shravan lived happily with his parents in a small hut. He looked after them very well. One calm and quiet night, Shravan woke up from his sleep. He heard his mother's whisper and came to know that she wanted to go on a pilgrimage. But she did not know how she would due to her inability to walk and see. He then heard his father saying, "How can we go on a pilgrimage? Both of us are unable to see and walk. We are blind and lame." Shravan's mother said, "Don't worry. If we are not able to go on a pilgrimage, it must be according to God's wish. God has given us a devoted and caring son. How devotedly he serves us." Shravan felt sad hearing this conversation. He decided to take his parents on a pilgrimage. He was, after all, a devoted son. He was also very intelligent and hard-working. He cut a thick branch from a bamboo tree and made a sling at each end of it. He then tied 2 jute baskets to the slings. He made his parents sit in the baskets. Then he lifted the bamboo branch onto his shoulder. After saying a prayer, he started off on his journey. He walked and walked through fields and forests. He crossed rivers and ravines. He walked through villages and over mountains. he reached the holy rivers Ganga and Yamuna. He visited various temples. Shravan made his parents bathe in the holy rivers. He wiped them dry and dressed them. He took them to various temples. To him, his parents were akin to God. His parents were very pleased. Shravan felt happy seeing the glow on his parents' faces. After every visit, Shravan's parents took some rest. Then, Shravan lifted the bamboo branch and continued on his journey. His heart was full of energy and enthusiasm. Then it was time to return home. He journeyed once again through villages and crossed rivers and streams. He went over mountains. He passed by temples of gods and goddesses again. His parents were overjoyed. Everybody praised Shravan and regarded him as a blessing for his parents from God. Shravan was considered the ideal son by all who heard this story, a story which is told even today. Once again, Shravan began his journey by lifting the bamboo branch onto his shoulder. The sun was shining brightly, and Shravan went on walking. In the afternoon, Shravan's parents felt thirsty. Shravan put down the bamboo branch under a shady tree. He cleaned the spot by removing dry leaves, twigs and thorns, and made his parents sit there among the lush green trees. Shravan took a pot and left the place in search of water. On the way, he heard the sweet sound of water and quickly went in that direction. He saw a beautiful river and he went over to it. He was also very thirsty. The water was cool and fresh. And as he tried to quench his thirst, he thought of his thirsty parents. Shravan realized that his thirsty parents would be waiting for him anxiously. So he dipped the pot in the river water. At that time, Ayodhya's king Dashrath was wandering in the forest in search of prey. He heard the sound of water and thought it was the sound of an animal drinking water. But he could not see any animal. So he shot an arrow in the direction of the sound. The arrow went out of his bow and struck the unseen target. Alas! The arrow struck the chest of Shravan, and the whole forest echoed with his painful cries. King Dashrath trembled and he rushed towards the river. He saw that Shravan was crying with an arrow pierced in his chest. King Dashrath pulled out the arrow quickly and Shravan could hardly breathe. He was near death and he told King Dashrath his name. He was barely able to tell him about his parents, and while pointing at the pot of water, he died. King Dashrath's heart was filled with grief. He realized his mistake, but nothing could be done. King Dashrath now thought of Shravan's parents and picked up the pot of water. Filled with grief, with a heavy heart, he walked towards Shravan's parents. When Shravan's mother heard the sound of footsteps of a stranger, she asked who it was. King Dashrath was sad, and he stood there without uttering a single word. His heart was wounded with grief. Slowly he told them that he was King Dashrath. By mistake, he had shot an arrow and he stopped. Shravan's father impatiently asked him to continue. King Dashrath continued talking. He told them that by mistake the arrow had hit Shravan and killed him. King Dashrath added that they could treat him as their son and he would serve them as Shravan. King Dashrath was trying to reduce their grief by assuring them that he would take them on their pilgrimage and then to his palace. Shravan's parents were full of grief. They wept and grieved for their dead son. They could not bear the shock of their son's death and fell down dead. But at the time of death, Shravan's father cursed King Dashrath and said that he would die with the grief of parting from his son. King Dashrath was stunned, and the pot fell down from his hands. Tar! There was water and broken pieces of pot all around. With a grieving heart, King Dashrath returned to his palace through the gloomy forest. A long time has passed, but even today, parents long to have a son as devoted as Shravan.
So children, I hope you liked the story of Shravan, and I would like you to be obedient and dutiful like Shravan. Listen to your parents and do everything that they tell you, alright? Till then, take care. Bye-bye.